Let's be honest, Arizona's trying to rebound. In 2015, they made it all the way to the NFC title game. Last season, they didn't make it to 500, finishing 7-8-1. So clearly a large part of the Cardinals' success is going to be determined by the play of all-everything cornerback Patrick Peterson Jr. Now, Patrick's dad was also quite the player back in his day, but Patrick Sr.'s career was cut short by a heart condition discovered in high school. And for entirely different reasons, Patrick Jr. could have had his career end in high school as well, were it not for the hard lessons he had to learn and the importance of something called the Peterson Agreement. Michelle Beisner has the story.
Being a parent means making sacrifices for your children. It can be time or money, but all of them lessons to shape a child's formative years. Patrick Peterson Sr. was prepared for that journey as he watched his oldest son, Cardinals cornerback Patrick Peterson Jr., exhibit athletic gifts at a young age.
When he turned 5, he was a natural.
All right, little Pat, go!
At 8 years old, I think I started seeing, the potentials of athleticism.
When I played the game growing up, I always played with a certain fire, a certain demeanor, because my dad always told me, you never know when the game's going to be taken away from you. Even as a kid, I always want to give 110% each and every time you're on the field.
Playing at his dad's alma mater, Blanche Ely High School in Pompano Beach, Florida, Patrick Jr. was a breakout star as a freshman. But his newfound fame came with pitfalls that young, impressionable athletes face.
I didn't know how to handle that success, so I started doing what the seniors was doing. I was going to senior skip days. I was, leaving school early.
Skipping school is one thing. Violating the Peterson Agreement is another.
I didn't have the grades that I promised my parents that I was going to have leading up to to my sophomore year. So my dad, they took something very precious away from me.
He's eligible to play with a 2.0.
Yep.
Your requirements are 2.5.
Yep.
He gets a 2.3. You say, no way you're playing.
He promised me he was going to keep it up above 2.5, and the 2.3 was just, it wasn't a promise. It was like a letdown.
What was the lowest point for you during that time?
When the game of football was taken away from me, I cried almost a month, literally. It's like someone just got a Louisville slugger and just hit it right in my gut. I had to go to each and every game. I had to sit in the stands and explain why I'm not on the football field helping my team win the championship.
But this is his spot to kind of explain why he wasn't on the football field for this year. Telling people that the mistake he made was a bad one, bad decision, saying that how much he hurt his team by not doing the right thing at the moment.
By them sitting me out my sophomore year, I believe that changed me. All I had to do is look myself in the mirror, and if I wanted to change it, it started with me. That is what created a monster. That's what created my work ethic.
And Patrick didn't look back. He was invited to a national combine for top high school players. But to pay for him to attend, the family made a difficult choice. The Petersons found the money by turning off their electricity.
So it's my 2 sisters and my mom back home pretty much in the dark, with no lights. Probably about 2 to 3 weeks. When my dad told me that, I went to my mom and I promised her, I said, don't worry, you would never, ever have to worry about this being an issue, because someday I'm going to make it. And I promised her that I will bring back the defensive MVP trophy.
And you brought home that trophy.
And I brought home the trophy.
Picked off by Peterson at 25, running left to the 20, to the 10, to the 5, touchdown! Patrick Peterson!
Coaches in the NFL often preach about their players needing to understand sacrifice and accountability. Patrick Peterson learned those lessons at a young age from his father, whose actions spoke louder than words.
And that's the thing I respected about him the most, growing up. He knew when it was time to be hard. Just going back and just seeing his mentality and how he wanted to show me things and how he wanted to be on me as a person, as a football player, as a coach, as a dad. And my dad gave me those values at a very young age, and I ran with it.
Well, as we go inside the Verizon film room, we thank Michelle Beisner-Buck for that piece. Tell you what, that had to be tough on a young man, taking something that he loved away from him, but it clearly worked, right? It clearly worked.
Sophomore season that you don't get to play.
Yeah.
That's got to be tough on a kid.
I wasn't even that good at athletics, but to have them taken away from me for a game would have been tough. Talk about one of the best players probably in the country, have it taken away for a full season. Good on him, but certainly a lesson that probably in the end paid major long-term dividends.
He's made up for some lost time in the interim. Wouldn't you say?
Absolutely. The interesting thing there, I'm sure that sophomore season was not a great relationship between Patrick Sr. and Jr., but the relationship now on the other side of it seems like as strong as it possibly could be.
And I'm sure you got that 2.3 up above 2.5.
Yeah,
by a lot.
Peterson agreement. Let's not get close to the line. Let's make sure we're well over the line. So it was interesting.